Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to EonsOfBattle.com. Today I'd like to show you how to create a scenic staircase space. Here are the paints I'll be using. First thing I did was I took a piece of pink foam, I took a 2-inch piece, and then I began trimming it to the size of the 40mm base I'm going to be using. I made sure to leave plenty of excess on there because I'm going to be working this down to a much smaller size. And then I continued to cut it until I had the size that I needed. I then cut the piece in half lengthwise, and then I began working it down to a working size with a little bit of 60 grit sandpaper. Now make sure, this stuff is pretty nasty when you're sanding it, so make sure that you wear a respirator or at least a face mask. So make sure that you cut the piece that's going to be used for the stairs a little bit smaller, and as you see I cut it in half, and so that is how I will be making my staircase. To glue them to each other, I used a little bit of PVA glue. I glued it on just like that. And then I allowed that to dry. Once it was dry, I then went back to the sandpaper and I worked it down so that it was appropriate size for the 40mm base that it will be standing on. Then I created a few little battle scratches by just taking the point of my hobby knife and gouging out some small areas. And then to make some pillars for the handrail, I put in some push pins. Then to make the handrail, I then took another piece of pink foam and I began to design it, taking measurements with just holding it up with a pen, and then I chopped it out. I put a little bit of hot melt glue onto my pillars, and then I stuck on the piece that I'll be using for the handrail. And then once that had set up, I then just took my hobby knife and just cut it out. I then glued it onto my 40mm, making sure that it overhang a little bit so that not much of the 40mm was visible. And then I put on a little bit of flocking. I put down some PVA glue to help the rock stick to. Then I put on a few medium rocks, and then I sprinkled here and there some very, very fine sand. Now make sure that you do sprinkle it very, very loosely, otherwise if you completely cover the areas that you cover with paints or glue, then you're going to end up with some very puddles looking like little piles of rocks. So then I primed it with a Vallejo surface primer, black, so that because if you use a shake hand primer, like you may do with a regular model, you'll end up eating away at the foam and ruining it. And then to bring it back up, I used Vallejo Stonewall Gray through my airbrush. I made sure to lighten up the floor of the base a lot more than the sides to bring attention to the front. And then to finish it up, I did a light dry brushing with Vallejo Bone White, just to add a little bit of color and to not make it look so cold. If you have any other ideas, techniques you'd like to see us do, please leave in the comments below. If you'd like to see more videos like this, you can visit us at our website at EonsOfBattle.com. Thanks for watching.